Yo, I'm Mr. Beat. In 2010, when I was a young lad, I began teaching world history at Blue Valley High School. Fun fact, that was the same high school that Michael Stevens from Vsauce went to. Anyway, when I first started teaching about fascism to these poor kids, I had a hard time explaining it. When I looked online for definitions, it was hard to find a definition that was historically accurate. And when I did find one, it was just ridiculously complex. And since then, I've noticed that there are a lot of people who are confidently talking about fascism, but I don't think they actually know what it means.
The true fascists who are operating today in this country are of a different variety than the old fascists of Mussolini's day. They're the people who want to shut down debate on college campuses like Berkeley, what they're doing to Coulter, what they've done to Milo, others.
Because fascism, regardless of nation or time or leader, is a reaction against the left. It's a frustration with liberalism. It's a rejection of socialism and communism and Marxism and feminism and globalism and perceived weakness. It's a reactionary movement that's a bit outside the realm of conservatism that forms an uneasy alliance with conservatives and centrist elites.
Fascism is a form of socialism, indeed, its most workable form. While the socialism of Marx mobilizes people on the basis of class, fascism mobilizes people by appealing to their national identity as well as their class. Fascists are socialists with a national identity.
To begin, let's take a look at what fascism is. Contemporary fascists share three core beliefs. 1. People of European heritage are or ought to constitute a biological, cultural, and political unity known as the white race, sometimes dog-whistled as Western culture. 2. Jews are masterminding the destruction of the white race through multiculturalism and non-white immigration, a plot that fascists call white genocide or ethnic replacement. 3. The only way to save the white race is to establish a white homeland, or ethno-state, from which non-whites and degenerates must be purged.
Rarely is a word so often misused or mischaracterized. So let's look at what fascism actually means. I meant to make this video a while ago, but I held back after my friend Tristan from Step Back History beat me to it. That's right, he beat Mr. Beat. Anyway, he released the video back in October 2017. Tristan does a great job, as he always does, but he mostly dives into the early history of fascist Italy and Nazi Germany, and frankly, he was still a bit too vague with his definition of fascism. In the comments of his video, I attempted to simplify the definition of fascism just like I used to simplify it for my students in my world history classes. Fascism is essentially conform or else. Well, it got a lot of likes, so that's cool, but then the well actually crowd hopped on, and one of the responses from Eli A was, that's just authoritarianism. Not all authoritarians are fascists, but all fascists are authoritarians. And Eli kind of has a point. Maybe I simplified too much. Violence usually is associated with fascism, but not always. So let me revise. Fascism is the idea that the group is more important than the individual. Diversity is a threat to the group. Individualism is a threat to the group. Immigration is a threat to the group. Any new ideas could potentially be a threat to the group. Basically, anything that undermines the country, nation, or even ethnic group is a threat to the group. The people in a fascist society are expected to have limited choices and strict guidance. In other words, conform to the group. Some argue fascism had its roots in the Jacobin movement, with leaders of the French Revolution like Maximilien Robespierre. Others argue it had its roots as a backlash against the Enlightenment. During the Enlightenment, when more and more people were raving about individualism, laissez-faire economics, liberty, and equality, dudes like the British philosopher Thomas Carlyle were like, hold up, hierarchy is good, democracy is bad. Some are leaders, but most are followers. Absolute rulers were good for society. These ideas gained popularity during the late 1800s and early 1900s. To add to the backlash, social Darwinism, the idea that the evolutionary concept of natural selection also applied to human societies, became a big thing. This fit right in with what would eventually be called fascism. The term fascism wasn't used until 1915 by supporters of a guy you probably have heard of named Benito Mussolini. Mussolini started a group called the Fasci of Revolutionary Action and a newspaper called The People of Italy after he broke away from the Italian Socialist Party. As you may recall, this was smack dab in the middle of World War I, which Mussolini had fought in but had returned home after getting injured. With his newspaper and the Fasci of Revolutionary Action, Mussolini started a movement, and it grew in popularity, calling for things like continuing to fight in World War I, increasing militarism in general, and most importantly, nationalism. His followers proudly call themselves fascists, with a capital F. The Italian word fascio, meaning group, which comes from the Latin word fasces, which literally meant a bundle of sticks. One stick will bend and break. All the sticks together will stand strong. And yes, this became the symbol of the fascist party. Early fascists seemed kind of like socialists, calling for things like an 8-hour workday, a minimum wage, and a progressive tax that targeted the rich. However, many of them seemed to be fans of authoritarianism. Supporters who nicknamed themselves the Black Shirts turned to intimidation and violence to shut down critics of their movement. Ultimately, the fascists were able to take over Italy after the March on Rome in 1922, and Mussolini forcibly became prime minister and eventually dictator. For more on that, I have videos in the description that go into more detail, like Tristan's video. Go check it out. Again, my main purpose of this video is to simplify what fascism is. To recap, fascism is the idea that the group is more important than the individual. Authoritarianism and totalitarianism are both useful tools of fascism, but they are not necessary for it to happen, I suppose. But the other reason for me making this video is my frustration with people just using whatever definition of fascism best promotes their cause or fits their political agenda. Even the Oxford English Dictionary gets it wrong.
An authoritarian and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organization.
Fascism tends to be authoritarian, but it doesn't mean it has to be. It tends to be nationalistic, but it doesn't mean it has to be. It tends to be historically right-wing, but it doesn't mean it has to be. I mean, geez, Oxford English Dictionary, if you are getting it wrong, how is anyone else expected to get it right? The sad thing is that even though people use the word fascism to describe people they disagree with or they hate, they often are subconsciously cool with some aspects of it. Could this be you? Are you still confused about what fascism actually is? Well, here are some puppets to help illustrate ways that society can become fascist.
Oh wow, our government sucks. What is happening to our country?
Sorry, what did you say?
I didn't say anything.
You said our government sucks, and our country isn't going in the right direction.
I didn't mean it.
You are an enemy of the country. Take him away.
There is a group of people that is making this country lose its way, taking our jobs and making us less by being here. We have to get them out by whatever means necessary.
You!
Jim Jet from the Disassociated Press, why do you keep locking up people with blue hair?
We need to protect the state. We cannot keep a country going without breaking a few eggs. Speaking about breaking eggs, Jim Jet, that's the last question you're ever going to ask.
Everything is fine. People are not being taken away to detention centers, separated from their loved ones.
But isn't he just a human?
Human? He's our savior. We owe everything to him. I'd give my left arm to him if I hadn't already given my right arm at the factory.
Thank you to Paul and all the puppets of the Felt Show for helping me make this video. They are all terrific actors, very funny too. I put a link to a video in the description to one of their videos. Go check it out. Also, next week I will be returning to the Compared series, and I'm really excited about this one, so hopefully you'll watch it. Thanks for watching this one. If you're not going to watch that next video, at least you watch this one. So yeah, heck yeah, you fascist.